With Cinco de Mayo just around the corner, you need to seriously consider making these deeply savory and cheesy Quesabirria tacos. Grab you a Modelo and check out how easy they are to bring together. Alright, we will start with some dried chili peppers. I've got about 8 to 10 guajillo chilies that I'm going to seed and stem. Do the same thing with about 5 to 6 ancho chilies. Once that's done, I'm going to cut them up into smaller pieces. Boil a few cups of water and pour that right over the top. We're going to give these 15 to 20 minutes to soften and somewhat rehydrate. In the meantime, I've got about a 3.5 pound chuck roast here, which I am going to cut up into large 2 to 3 inch chunks. You just want to have them roughly the same size so they will cook relatively evenly. Anything in the 3 to 4 pound range should work for this dish. I've got a half of an onion going into a blender. You could use a food processor as well, along with 1 can of chipotles and adobo. You could do half a can if you don't want too much spice. A few cloves of garlic, a pinch of salt, and a fresh cracking of pepper. All the exact amounts and instructions will be down below in the description as always, as well as on the website, so don't feel like you need to take notes. We'll add some smoked paprika, some ground cloves, some oregano, Mexican oregano if you can find it, and some cumin to our mixture here. Follow that up with 1 cup of apple cider vinegar. And then at this point, those chilies have pretty well rehydrated and softened, so we'll add all those to the party, followed by a cup or so of that soaking liquid so that we have plenty of liquid in there to help all this stuff get to know each other and get nice and smooth. So I'm going to pop this on puree for about 60 seconds or until it is relatively smooth, at which point I'm going to get it into a Dutch oven or just use your largest pot. We'll follow that up with a 14-ounce can of crushed tomatoes and about 4 cups of beef stock or beef broth. Stir all that around to combine, and then we will add our chunks of beef to the pot, followed by 1 stick of cinnamon and a couple of bay leaves. And you'll definitely want to fish those out once we're done cooking this, which we will do in a 350-degree oven for about 2 hours covered, and then about another 1.5 hours to 2 hours uncovered. And that uncovered cooking time allows us to get some nice caramelization on the top of the pot, and also allows that liquid to reduce down. As you can see here, you'll want to scrape all that goodness off the sides. That's just pure flavor. Get the meat out of that cooking liquid and shred it into fine pieces. If you have any large chunks of fat you come across, you'll go ahead and remove those and then just shred away. You want this to be relatively fine so it's not too stringy when you bite into your tacos. Alright, to make our tacos, we're going to drizzle some olive oil into a large skillet. If you had a Blackstone griddle top or any kind of griddle, this would be even easier to make several of these at once, but I'm just going to do 2 at a time. Dip them into that cooking liquid and fat that's on the surface, lay them into the olive oil. That's going to help keep them nice and pliable and also help them cook up nice and crispy on the outside. We'll lay down some of that beef on 1/2 of the taco, some shredded Monterrey Jack cheese. You could use mozzarella. I think Oaxaca would be traditional, but that can be hard to find in some grocery stores. I'll also sprinkle on some more white onion and some fresh cilantro. After about 60 to 90 seconds, we'll go ahead and fold these up and give them another 30 to 60 seconds on each side until that cheese is melted and the outside of the taco has a nice crunchy little bite to it. And guys, other than the waiting for the beef to cook and the relatively large number of ingredients that go into this sauce, these things are pretty easy to make. And the depth of flavor you get from those dried chilies that roast in that beef stock and tomato sauce in the oven, it's really just phenomenal. Of course, anything with a big cheese pull is going to be super satisfying, but man, yeah, you could just go to your local Mexican joint and get an order of these for $13 or $15, but this recipe makes enough to feed probably 5 or 6 people, and it's honestly the best birria I've ever had, and I'm not just saying that because I cooked it for you, but the flavor was just out of bounds, as our good friend Guy Fieri would say. A little messy, a little spicy, but man, is it really, really tasty. Grab yourself a cold one, some rice and beans, and you've got a great meal for a party or just for a weeknight dinner. Anyways, get on out of here, make these birria tacos, or at the very least, go and make something delicious.